it's quite an experience to hold a hand.
Dino Cazares, welcome to the Seymour Duncan factory in Santa Barbara, California. We're very happy to have you. We got a bunch of stuff lined up, and welcome.
Thank you very much. This is my second time here, and you guys make me feel welcome every time I come.
You just finished a European leg of Fear Factory tour with Metallica.
The Baltic region.
The Baltic region, yeah. So you were in Russia.
We were in Lithuania, Estonia, Norway. The tour was amazing. The guys are really cool guys. They know how to make the opening bands feel really welcome. I mean, it's a whole different level of touring, you know what I mean? Playing arenas, you know, nothing less than 15,000, you know, and beyond, you know, 25,000 people pretty much a night. Mm-hmm. Guys were really cool, and you know, they came into our dressing rooms and hung out with us. And it was just a great exposure for the band to play in front of that many people.
The new single is Final Exit.
Yeah, we're gonna do a new single. It's called Final Exit. It's on the last song of our new CD, Mechanize, and it goes to radio any day now. So actually, some radio stations have already picked it up, and we're actually going to be shooting a video for it as well. It's kind of like, you know, it's more of an epic, dark kind of track, very melodic. It does have heavy spots, but overall, it's pretty melodic all the way through. And
the lyrics deal with some heavy-duty social issues too.
Yeah. Well, Final Exit actually is an organization called the Final Exit Network, and they. It's kind of a touchy subject, but they kind of help people who are terminally ill.
Physician-assisted suicide.
Yeah, exactly. Physician-assisted suicide. We're kind of just making it aware, you know.
Right. What can you tell us about the next Fear Factory album?
I know that we're definitely going to take it to the next level. This record, I believe, was a return to form. You know, right. I'm an original member of the band. I was one of the, you know, co-founded the band. So obviously, you know, me coming back to the band. For a lot of people who don't know, I actually came back to the band after 6 or 7 years being gone, and so me being the original member coming back, it brought the original sound back, and so a lot of people were very happy about that.
How have you been getting along with Burton?
For me and Burton coming back together, you know, it just was a really easy process. It seemed like we didn't stop playing or writing together, creating together. And I think that, you know, in this next record, we're definitely going to have to take it to the next level.
But what about your other bands, Divine Heresy, Asesino? What's going on with those bands and projects?
Divine Heresy, we will be doing a tour with Fear Factory in July. I'm going to be doing double duties.
That's July 2010.
July 2010, this year, correct. Yeah. We're going to be doing, you know, parts of the U.S., a lot of Canada dates. Right now, we have, we're just going to be, you know, writing songs. On my downtime, I, you know, constantly writing songs, writing ideas, and I have a lot of new ideas for Divine Heresy and stuff like that, because that record's already been out a year. Right. My mind is already like, okay, I gotta write something new, and so that's where I'm at with that. Asesino, we have a couple of new songs, but that's kind of like more further on the back burner. Right now, it's just mainly Fear Factory.
Growing up, who were some of your guitar heroes? Who did you emulate? When you strummed the low-slung tennis racket in the privacy of your own bedroom, and you looked in the mirror, who was looking back at you?
The funny thing it wasn't a tennis racket, it was a baseball bat.
A baseball bat?
It was a baseball bat. What it was is that my dad was a famous baseball player in Mexico. Well, not famous, but he was a baseball player in Mexico professionally. And, you know, that was kind of like what I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be a baseball player. So my mother was more into music. My dad was into music as well, and it was mariachi music. That was kind of like the first thing I heard. And that really didn't inspire me to want to play, you know, guitar. Or one of my older brothers turned me on into AC/DC, and I was stuck.
That was it.
The minute I seen AC/DC on TV, I saw him on Don Kirshner's rock concert. I saw AC/DC play it, and I saw Angus Young, and I'm like, holy cow, I want to be like that. And then I saw the album cover, If You Want Blood, You Got It, with the guitar stabbed through us. And, you know, when I was a kid, that was just like the coolest thing. And then, of course, it progressed from there, from Black Sabbath, and then, you know, it gets heavier and heavier, Iron Maiden, you know, and Metallicas and Slayers, and you just, you know, progress from there. Of course, Eddie Van Halen. All those guitar players and just that genre of music really inspired me to want to play and want to play the, you know, want to play metal. When I first started, I realized that I was a better riff writer than I was a soloist. Even though when I first started, I tried to copy Eddie Van Halen and stuff. Everybody did when they heard, you know, Eruption. But it was more, you know, the riffs that I was really into, and it was more the songs. I guess probably because, you know, my mother first turned me on into the Beatles and Elvis and stuff like that, so I was really addicted to the melody. You know what I mean? And later on, you know, in Fear Factory, that's when we started combining all the melodic stuff in with the brutal stuff. You know what I mean? And it just that was something that made us stand apart, and it really worked for us.
I don't think I've ever seen you play a 6-string guitar.
There's
Really?
one video where I'm playing a 6-string guitar.
Really?
That's a replica. I think the first time that I actually started tuning down was like way back in the late 80s, when all this, you know, heavy industrial music started coming out, and all this English grindcore, death metal type stuff coming out. So I was tuning my guitars lower, and I also you know, realized that I can get more darker riffs out of it. So I was always tuning my 6 strings down to like B and A and G.
Wow.
And then you had to go for bigger strings and blah blah blah. Back then, those 6-string guitars weren't really made for that.
Yeah.
So I recorded the first 2 albums like that, Sylvania Machine and Demanufacture. It wasn't until a company called Ibanez approached me on the 7-string, and I was instantly hooked.
Why do you play 7 strings sometimes and 8 strings other times? Like, what determines whether you play the 7 or the 8?
Well, obviously you can go into different. Well, because I was experimenting so much, it was only natural for me to go to the 7-string. But then when I was playing the 7 strings, I started tuning it even lower, G's and F sharps and so on and so on.
Okay.
You know, experimenting with different lower tunings. So then, again, Ibanez came out with the 8-string, the prototype, and I started playing that, and it was like I naturally fell into that. You know, I just love the low tunings. I love to experiment with that. Maybe it's the size of the necks as well. I mean, when I go back to a 6-string, I feel lost. I'm picking up here, and then I go down here to pick, and I miss it.
Right.
I completely miss the string because I'm so used to going down a little lower.
Right.
So it's weird if you go back to a 6-string.
You were involved very much in the voicing of the 7-string and the 8-string Blackouts.
A long time ago, I had a Charvel Jackson, and it had, I think they were the stock active pickups in the Charvels. And I was like, okay, I started getting into it. Then all of a sudden I heard, you know, the EMG pickups. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. Then I got the 7-strings, and the 7-strings came with their stock pickups, and wasn't into them. And I was like, well, I missed that, you know, active pickup tone. Yeah. And obviously when I heard Seymour Duncan, I was like, wow. Well, there was a lot of things that I thought were missing in the EMG tone. So I was like, okay, you know, obviously I need a little bit more body.
Right.
And, you know, I'm a riff writer, you know what I mean? So I need something that was going to be able to, because, you know, I'm sorry to be jumping around a little bit, but, you know, my amps, I always kept adding what was missing.
Right.
With the Seymour Duncans, there's not a lot that's missing, so I have to add less or none at all. You know what I mean? Especially the mids and especially some of the lows. You know what I mean? With that being said, I love the Seymour Duncans.
Great. Well, Dino, we're very happy to have you here, and thanks for your time. And we'll look forward to seeing Fear Factory in a town near us, because basically all we have to do is sit still, and you'll come near us, no matter who we are or where we are. Yeah, we're gonna be everywhere. Everywhere we went in Russia was like metal detectors. Yeah. Everywhere. Well, that's why they call it metal.
There you go.
Evan Skopp with Dino Cazares, Seymour Duncan, Blackouts. We're out.